So, back again. This is take two. The reason it's take two is I was been prattling on for 20 minutes about stupid stuff and had forgotten to put my microphone on. So sound quality was crapo. Anyway, that's my mistake. Hello again. So what I was actually going to tell you about is what progress we've done so far on the Class 2, or in this case, the lack of progress. What I've been up to, finishing this wagon. It's still not finished. I'm just waiting on some door hinge castings to come, and then I can finish the sign writing, and then it's finished. It's on its wheels now. It looks amazing. I'm not showing it off until I do a full unveiling. I've done, for those one or two might have seen it, you know, but that's because I'm quite proud of what it looks like and stuff. So one or two have seen it, but not everybody. So right, where we're up to, I've had lots of laser cut parts come. I've gone in a bit of a fit of madness. I bought castings, laser cut parts. I've bought washers and rubber rings and a whole host of things for this Class 2 tender. More nuts and bolts and things like that. And also, as well as a little cheeky one that I've got through, which we'll do first. We'll cover this bit first. So I've done this bit. There we are. Name, where she was built, tender gallons, 3,000 gallon tender, BR3 tender with its allocation number for which engine it was with, smoke box allocation plate for its shed, and self-clean for a self-cleaning smoke box. So I've ordered those from Diane Carney Plates. Fantastic service. Said what I wanted, it came through like that. And you can see that I've got to do a little bit of painting on there and hole drilling and stuff, and I don't need them for a long time yet, but I've got them. So 19C shed code. If you're asking, I'll give you a little bit of a history on this engine that I'm copying. 19C, oh yeah, and obviously the engine number 78026. 78026 was allocated to Canclo shed of Rotherham stroke Sheffield. More Rotherham than it is Sheffield, but I think it's a Sheffield shed plate. Allocated there in 1954. Carried the shed code 19C back then, not 41D I think it changed to. So yeah, that's why I picked it, because it's literally, Canclo is 10 minutes away from my house, and local engine, local build, bit of history, you know, kind of go hand in hand. Sorry, thought someone was coming up the garden then, but they're in. And if there is, they can bugger off because I'm busy. So yeah, so that's why I picked that number and that shed. I did a lot of research into that to make sure I got that tender code correct. Obviously the shed allocation code correct and everything like that. So once I've got all those, press go, have them made. What else have we got? Rubber washers, tap washers really. Steel washers. They're overspill. I don't need those ones. They're overspill from what I actually needed them for. And I'll do that bit now. I'm going to take you off there a second. And I'm going to flip you around and show you that. So you can see there, steel washer, rubber washer, steel rubber washer, rubber washer. You can see the hook going through the frames. The hook's not all the way up tight yet, even though it's actually starting to compress and bulge the rubber there. So I've got a little bit of a tight spot, so needs a little bit of fettling still to make it a nice sliding fit. But I might take one off here, this one off, so that that can screw up a bit more, and then I can put a pin through to stop that unwinding, you know, because it's going to squeeze them and let them go and stuff like that when it's under load. So I might do that, I might not. I ain't decided yet what I'm going to do here. I might just leave it as it is and pin straight through that, because I've still got, as I say, I've still got a bit of a gap there, and it will relieve that bulge that's appeared on that one there. So that's what we've done there. You get the idea on that. So let's again place you back up here, and then we can go on to the next bits. So loads of laser cut parts from Edit Model Engineers laser. Not really, as you can see, I've not done a great deal of work on the tender itself, but I've got all these parts coming so that when this wagon's gone and off to its customer and everything's all sorted, I can then do a bit on this a bit more freely, even though I'm doing some more work. I don't know if you saw, I'm doing some work on my dad's home side for rectifying mistakes that I made 6 years ago. I didn't make them, somebody else made them for me, which is very kind, but I'm rectifying the mistakes now. I've got a bit more experience in the workshop, more experience with the mill and CAD and all that. So I'm rectifying some mistakes that were made on that engine, and then I'm going to get it certificated so I can take it off elsewhere. So yeah, so I've had that to deal with. I'll have that to deal with. But I've got these parts, if you can see there. It's hard to get it right on that light. That is one of the guard irons, that's the other one. So they still need the bend putting in them. There's an S-bend that goes in here, and they bolt to the frames. They're a very, very quick thing to deal with because the shape's there. If I was making them out of a solid bit of 1/8 plate or 3mm plate, there's a lot of cutting and filing and messing about. And for those that go, oh, it's not model engineering if you're having it all laser cut, well, they would have gas cut them in the good old days, so if they can gas cut them, then I can laser cut them. That's my answer to it. They didn't go at it with an hacksaw and a bloody file to make a guard iron, that is for certain, not out of 1-inch thick steel plate. And the other bits I've had done. This is the tender tank support brackets that I was talking about last time. You can see there's a selection of holes in the top here and one at here. So you'll notice there's 2 of those, that shape, and the rest are that shape with no cutout in them. And the reason for that is where these ones sit, the water filter boxes fit in that gap. And you might hear one of you two out there say, well, why not just move the filter box instead of cutting a cutout in that? On full size they were cut out like that, and on this is going to be cut out like that, even though you won't really see them. I can't move the filter box because if I move the filter box it won't be where it should be, and the pipe comes out the back of it and goes through the oval D shape in the tender frames, so it sits in a certain place and then that pipe goes in and in between the frames from it. So that's why I've left it as per the full size. There's that again. What else have we got done? Not what I've got done, but what I've got. So I haven't cut any of this angle up yet. This is a big bit of offcut that I've got. 3/4 angle. That's going to get riveted to the top to it. That way round actually. Let's get it right. I'm going to rivet it on the top to it like so. You'll notice that the cutout is 3/4. The angle is 3/4. Yeah, it's going to fit in like so. Yeah, and then this edge here, that's going to be sat on top like that. This edge here, I'm going to thin that right down to 3/8, all the way along the length of it. And I've got, that's an offcut, I've got loads more of that. I'll thin that down to 3/8. That will then can be riveted to the frames. Now one thing I've got to be careful of on the engine, which I'm going to take you back off there and show you this, and with this, with cocking up the film in the first time round, this has made it much better second time round. So yeah, so row of, let's go get you in focus, row of bolt holes in the top, yeah, all the way along the top. right, 3/4 angle or 3/8 by 3/4 angle is going to go on there. These bad boys with the cutouts will be in here, and you can see the D underneath it. Yeah, the cutout underneath it. So the water pipe's going to go down and in through there. They're going to sit in said relation to that. Yeah, and then obviously the tank sits on top of that. So what was I saying? So yeah, so when I'm putting this in here, I can't rivet it all on, because you'll notice here, yeah, this big selection of rivets or holes here, there is the upper stretcher, and then there'll be another upper stretcher, then there'll be obviously a length of angle, but then I've got the drag box at the back, yeah, here. So I've got to be careful what I do rivet and what I don't rivet. You can't take this apart if I rivet them two together there and put this angle on the outside and rivet straight through the whole lot. If I do that, we can't do what we want to do with the frames, and that's if it comes to overhauling or anything like that, you cannot split the frames if you rivet it all together. So yes, it was riveted together at full size. This is miniature. It's not like I can go out a gas axe and start chopping through iron rivets to get it all apart. So I need to do rivets and bolts. So there'll be bolts here where this one's going to sit, then there'll be a series of rivets, yeah, there'll be another one there that can be riveted on, then where the next upper stretch is going to be, bolts, then a load of rivets, bolts. But I'll do slotless screws. I'll do slotless screws from EKP. 7BA I think is 332 diameter, thereabouts. 7BA straight through there. Nut on the inside. From the outside it'll look like it's been riveted up. That's what we want it to look like, because it was riveted in full size. But realistically it's just going to be bolted together. And that allows me then to go and take it apart, put it back together if I ever need to. I'm hoping that this will outlive me and I won't ever need to pull it apart. But if someone had it after me, they can look at it and go, oh, this is designed well, I can pull it apart, I can strip the paint off it, repaint it, put it all back together in exactly the fashion it was meant to be done. That's what we're hoping for. So what else have we had done? Because I've digressed completely, haven't I? No, I haven't really. So laser cut parts for them. Hooks, obviously I've machined up 1/4 diameter to come push through the back of the drag box. OBA nut on the end to put that in, so that's already in. Still a bit of fettle work to go on that, but wagon first, tender second. The other thing, I've been to speak to Hawley Miniatures down in West Essex, and I'm saying that because I'm just reading the label of where these came from. Hawley Miniatures. I've got some more coming, but this is the first stick of 4 horn cheeks, or axle box horns, horn cheeks, horns, horn guides, however you want to pronounce them. These, as you can tell, have no detail, there's no holes, no nothing. Quite a bit of milling to go on these, but once I've finished doing me rods for me dad's old home side, I can then put these in, clamp them up and get a bit of meat chewed out of them. What's missing from these, which I could have gone down the route of having them completely redone, with all the holes in them and everything like that. On full size there's a pad that sits on the running face where the axle box goes up and down. There's a pad that fits on there, and on this face here there'll be bolts going through to that pad. Now obviously you can see there's nothing there. I want to add that detail. Whether I can add that detail or not, I don't know yet. I want to add the detail because it's something you can visually see when it's running, when it's on display, when it's sat in the steaming bays and things like that. It's something you can physically see. So that detail, I've got to work out how I'm going to put it in. It won't have the pad on the inside because they're cast iron, and I don't think it needs it. Well, it's not, I don't think it needs it. I just don't want to go through that level of detail. I want it to have the detail, but I don't want to go through, oh, it's going to have pads in it, stuff like that. As I said, this is a compromise engine between full size and what's already published. What's published, they don't have them on, and I want to have the detail in it, but I'm not putting the pads in, if that makes sense. Bit gobbledygook, I know. But I want to put the bolts there because that's a visual representation. You can see that there's a pad and things like that. So if I can add that detail in, you'll get a better look at it and you'll get a better idea of what it looks like. What else have I ordered from Hawley? I've ordered a pair of 10-spoke tender wheels. Only one pair for now, because I wanted to see what the castings look like when they came through. I've got a works drawing for the actual tender wheel, so I know what it should look like. And it's pretty damn close, so happy with that. Don't need to go and have a pattern made, don't need to go and outsource them to get them cast. Straight up buy a casting wheel casting, get it in my lathe, machine it up, whack an axle in it, and we're ready. We've got one axle done. When the time comes, I'll order the other 4 wheels and then get the other 2 axles done, and we can get, hopefully, when I'll have those horn guides done, I'll have the axle boxes done, and we'll be ready for wheels at that point. But I obviously need to get this drag box built up and the 2 upper stretchers in as well, which I'll bugger off inside in a minute and start doing some drawing on them, because I need to get them off to Ed at Model Engineers Laser. Another shout out to them, top bloke. Just recovered from a bit of illness, back on it. Stuff comes through in a timely manner, can't fault the guys there. Everything I send through comes back spot on. So yeah, big shout out to them. What else have I had laser cut? I'm going to show you this because it's within arm's reach. Just bear me a second. That's that. You think, what's he showing a square for? Where's that square fit in the tender? It doesn't. This is the smoke box saddle. Well, actually, it's a dummy at the moment, because what I want to do, it's a bit of a learning curve, because I'm going to curve it. No, it's a bit of a process thing. I've had the smoke box wrapper also laser cut, and I'm way off needing either of those just yet. But why I'm having them done is all to do with the cylinders, and I'm way off needing them yet too. But this goes back to the first video I did about this class 2, about being 10 steps ahead or 4 steps ahead or even 20, 30 steps ahead. I want to roll the smoke box out of a sheet as opposed to buying a tube and machining the ends of the tube and getting it that way, and then adding the detail, the rivet holes and stuff like that. If I get it as a sheet and I manage to roll it at the correct diameter and join the seam, which the seam is going to be sat on the saddle, it's going to be at the bottom, not at the top. If I can get all that done, I can do a more prototypical saddle which fits behind the cylinders, which then allows me to split the exhaust from the cylinders, and instead of it being a single pipe exhaust blast nozzle configuration, it will be a 4-port exhaust system from the back of the cylinders into a collector, which is going to fit right where this square is here, right in there. And what I'm having to work out at the moment, I have a pattern for this class 2. That pattern, that cylinder pattern, has a void in the back of the cylinder, which it's done from the drawings, the published drawings. That void was in the drawing, so obviously the pattern maker that I used at the time, which I'm going back 20 years ago now, he obviously made that cylinder pattern up. He did the valve liners as per drawing and everything like that. So when the cylinder is all bolted together, the exhaust on that cylinder at the current time will go into the chamber at the back. It has a plate that's then bolted to it, which has one single hole in it, and the loco frames have one single hole in it. That obviously is your exhaust collector at the back, and then it will exhaust up the chimney. With me wanting to split that void in the middle, so I'm going to have a front exhaust port and a rear exhaust port. The frames need changing as well, so instead of having a single hole, it's going to have two holes, rectangular holes as opposed to circle holes. So once I modify the cylinder casting, the cylinder pattern, then it will split the exhaust, and instead of it being like it's drawn, which is a Y-piece single exhaust, it'll be 4 ports into one collector in the smoke box, then obviously blast nozzle. And the best way I can describe it for you to get an understanding of it, go on to Michael Jack's page, look at his BR Standard 3 tank engine build in 5-inch gauge. His smoke box saddle and exhaust Y-piece collector is a work of art, and it's as per full size, which we're doing that but not doing that. It all comes to do with the 2 drawings, or 2 sets of drawings, 1 engine. So like putting some mistakes into it still, like the width of the engine. The width of this engine will be too wide as per full size. If I calculate full size down, it's fractionally too wide. It's a negligible difference, but it's a difference nonetheless. Not that you'd see it, and the rivets counters will be like, well, it's not quite right because it's a bit wide. I'm my own critic. I don't need your feedback. I've got my own feedback, and I'll criticise my own work 30 times before my engine even leaves the workshop. So I don't need that type of, it's not quite right. I do that myself, and I'm adding detail to go, it looks better than it should. So I think we're about there. I haven't got the wheel castings to hand because they're at the lathe at the moment, ready for when the lathe is free to get machined up. So, but I know that they're right because they're 10 spoke and they look right, and I've got the works drawing for those, so I can get them sorted out. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully the next time we speak, or I speak, I'll have something actually made. And I can't do that drag box at the moment for the front. Certainly can't silver solder it together because my bottle of gas is running right low, and I know it'll give up the ghost when I'm halfway through, which I don't want. So I need to replenish my bottle of gas first before I attempt that. I haven't pulled out all my TIG equipment yet because I want to clear a bit of space. I want to get this wagon finished, clear a bit of space, and then get cracking with some bits and get me Dad's engine sorted so I can take that elsewhere, get it pressure tested and stuff, and take it for a play at other railways, as it were. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, share, comments, good or bad, send them my way. I've had some good ones and not had any bad ones, which is nice. But I've certainly had some good ones of people enjoying my videos. So I hope, like the small amount of progress that I've got on the tender at the moment, or on the engine for that matter. Just going on that, I've ordered microfilms from the National Railway Museum for the loco frames, just to kind of give me the front of what's in this, what's at the front of this tender, because I don't want to start building and getting too far ahead if something needs modifying now. So if I draw the engine part of it, I can rectify it now because I'm at that stage. I can't rectify it if I've built the tender and then I go, right, I'll do what I did with the tender and draw the engine up and find that there's a massive discrepancy between the two. I'll be annoyed at myself. I'll be annoyed for Mark, who will be building one, you know, a little bit going off what I'm doing. He'll get annoyed because he'll be, you know, wasted money and wasted time, and I don't want that. So that's why I'm trying to get about 50,000 steps in front and get drawings that I didn't really need yet, get them drawn up, get it to a stage where I go, right, okay, I can fire that drawing off to, that redrawn part off for cutting because I've worked it out on computer. If I've got it right on computer, I'm going to have it right in this workshop, and that's it in a nutshell. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.